The siren came on just as I turned into the daycare lot. Lily was singing to herself in the back seat. I remember that because her voice kept going for 2 more seconds after I stopped. Then it cut off when the red and blue lights filled the mirror. Other parents were still outside. A dad loading a stroller looked over. 2 teachers froze by the glass doors. Nobody moved. The officer said my right tail light was broken. Then he said they had also received a call about a driver swerving with a child in the car. I told him that was impossible. I had driven the same 6 miles I drove every weekday. Same roads. Same turns. Same timing. He swept his flashlight across the front seat. Then his voice changed. There was a small plastic bag half visible under the passenger seat. I felt my throat close. Lily started crying. I could hear one teacher whisper, "Oh my God." And then my sister Claire pulled into the lot. Too fast. Too ready. She stepped out holding a pink booster seat already adjusted to my daughter's height. That was the moment I knew this had been arranged already. At the station, I barely heard the booking questions. My mind stayed in that daycare lot. Not on the bag. Not on the officer. On the booster seat. Claire had shown up in less than 5 minutes. Daycare was 15 minutes from her townhouse in Lone Tree on a good day. She could not have made that drive, parked and carried in a seat already set to Lily's straps unless she had known exactly what was coming. That detail kept scraping at me. Not the crying. Not the shame. Not even my mother's voice on the phone asking what I had done this time. The seat changed everything. Because people do not prepare for emergencies that precisely unless they helped build them. When my attorney got me out the next afternoon, he started talking about charges, bond conditions, and emergency custody risk. I let him talk. Then I asked the only question that mattered. Can you find out what time Claire left her house the night before the stop? Before my attorney answered, I need to tell you one thing. If you are listening from somewhere tonight, drop your city in the comments. Because what happened next did not start in a courtroom. It started first with a timestamp, a parking alert, and one sister who moved too early. My name is Nora Delgado. I am 33 years old. I live in Highlands Ranch, just south of Denver, Colorado. I work as an insurance coordinator for a dental practice. And right now, I am telling you this because the people who called themselves my family tried to turn one traffic stop into proof that I never deserved my daughter. I was 28 when Lily was born. Her father left before her 2nd birthday. Since then, it had just been the 2 of us in a 2-bedroom apartment near South Quebec Street, with a school pickup routine so steady I could run it half asleep. Breakfast at 7. Preschool drop-off by 8:15. Same drive. Same songs. Same blue cup in the backseat. Claire is 6 years older than me. She has perfect posture, soft voice, expensive neutrals, and the kind of smile that makes strangers trust her before she even speaks. Online, she looked like the ideal aunt. Holiday crafts. Matching cookies. Carefully framed photos with Lily on her lap. Offline, she kept score. She had been trying to adopt for almost 2 years. 2 home studies. 1 delay. Then another. By then, she had started using words like stability and proper environment every time she looked around my apartment. Not loudly. Never directly. Claire did not attack with noise. She attacked with language that sounded responsible. My parents loved that language. To them, Claire was composed. Claire was safe. Claire planned ahead. I was the younger daughter who worked too much, lived too modestly, and never packaged my life well enough for people who cared more about appearances than patterns. That is why what happened after my arrest spread so fast. The story was already waiting for me. The troubled single mother. The endangered child. The reliable older sister stepping in to help. It would have worked too, if Claire had not made one mistake. She moved before the script was supposed to show itself. I had always thought silence kept peace in our family. I was wrong. Silence was the room where Claire arranged her version first. What Claire understood better than anyone was timing. She never pushed when people were looking straight at her. She planted an idea early. Then she waited for someone else to say it out loud. By the time my arrest happened, my parents were already halfway inside her version. 3 months before the stop, someone tried my car door in the preschool lot. Nothing was taken. But the handle had fresh scratches, and Lily had been in that car 30 minutes earlier. That was enough for me. The next weekend, I took my Honda CR-V to an auto shop off County Line Road and had a cloud dashcam installed. Front camera, cabin camera, parking mode, motion alerts, auto upload to a secure account on my phone. I paid more than I wanted to, but I told myself peace of mind was cheaper than regret. Claire laughed when she saw it. She said I was acting like I had enemies. I told her a single mother with a child did not need enemies to take precautions. She smiled at that. Small. Tight. Like she had heard something useful. After that, little things started to line up in a way I should have noticed sooner. My mother began asking if Lily was sleeping enough. My father asked whether I was still taking on extra shifts. Claire started dropping off groceries I had not asked for, then mentioning them later in front of other people like she was keeping me afloat. At Sunday dinners, she would ask Lily whether Mommy was ever too tired to play. Always soft. Always in front of witnesses. I kept telling myself it was annoying, not dangerous. That was my mistake. The night before the stop, I came home late from end-of-month billing. Lily had fallen asleep in the car, still holding a sticker book from preschool. I carried her upstairs, set out her clothes, and plugged in my phone on the kitchen counter. Before bed, I checked the dashcam app. Battery normal. Cloud connected. Parking mode armed. A blue upload icon sat in the corner. Nothing looked wrong. That is what stays with me. Not dread. Not instinct. Not some movie feeling that danger was near. Just normal. A clean sink. A lunchbox drying by the stove. Lily's sneakers by the door. My work badge on the hook. The kind of ordinary night people think protects them. It does not. Sometimes ordinary is. What makes a setup work? No one questions a story dressed in concern. No one checks who built the concern first. I went to sleep thinking my week was already hard enough. I did not know Claire was still working after midnight outside. By noon the next day, Claire had already filed for temporary emergency custody. Not visitation. Not a short-term safety plan. Custody. My attorney, Daniel Ross, spread the papers across the small conference table in his office in Centennial and tapped the first page with one finger. He was calm in a way that made me sit still. This was not panic, he said. This was preparation. Claire had filed an emergency affidavit before the police report was fully available. She claimed Lily was in immediate danger. She described me as unstable, possibly impaired, and unable to provide a safe home. My parents had signed supporting statements before I had even made it back from booking. That part hurt. Not because I still expected loyalty. Because I could suddenly see the schedule. The stop. The arrest. The child transfer. The paperwork. Nothing in that stack looked rushed. It looked pre-built. Daniel kept reading. Then he stopped at one line halfway down the affidavit and slid the page toward me. Claire had written that the officers discovered contraband after stopping me for a broken right tail light and erratic driving near the daycare entrance. I looked up at him. That detail had not been on the news. It had not been in anything released to us yet. Even I had only heard the officer say tail light once, in the parking lot, with Lily crying behind me. How did your sister know which light? Daniel asked. I did not answer. My hands had gone cold. Instead, I opened my phone and signed into the dashcam app. Most of the footage from the stop had already been locked by the system as an incident file. But when I scrolled back through the parking log from the night before, I saw something else. 11:47 p.m. Parking mode event. Upload interrupted. I tapped it. No video opened. Just a preview and a warning that the clip had failed to sync. But the frame was enough to make my chest lock. My passenger door was open. The cabin light was on. A sleeve showed at the edge of the shot. Not a face. Not proof. But not nothing. Daniel leaned closer. Can that data be recovered? He asked. Maybe, I said. Cloud clips mirror to a backup server for a few days if the account stays active. He nodded and reached for his phone. Good. Then we do not argue with your sister's story yet. We preserve the record first. That was the first moment I stopped feeling trapped. And started feeling watched. 2 days later, Daniel arranged a pre-hearing conference in a family law room at the Arapahoe County Courthouse. Claire arrived first. Cream coat, low heels, hair pinned back. A leather folder on the table in front of her, like she had come to solve a scheduling issue, not take my child. My mother sat beside her with red eyes and pressed lips. My father stood by the window, arms folded, staring down at the parking lot. Claire looked at me once, then at Daniel. "This does not need to become uglier than it already is," she said. Daniel did not answer. Claire slid a document across the table. Temporary guardianship. School pickup authorization. Medical decision authority. A package dressed up as help. "Lily needs stability," Claire said. "Right now you cannot provide that. If Nora cooperates, we can avoid forcing the court to make broader findings." That was how she talked. Like harm could become administrative if she used the right words. My mother finally spoke. "Nora, sign it. Let Lily stay somewhere calm until this is sorted out." I looked at her, then at Claire. "You filed for custody before the report was even out," I said. "You knew exactly what to ask for." Claire kept her face still. "I responded to an emergency." "Then read your affidavit," I said. She blinked once. Daniel said nothing. He let the silence stretch. Claire rested one hand on the folder. "I am not going to perform for you, Nora. The court already has what matters. If it is that simple, read it." My father turned from the window. "Enough," he said. This is not helping. But it was. Because Claire still did not touch the page. Daniel leaned back in his chair and spoke. "Ms. Delgado, on page 2, line 14, you identify the broken right tail light as part of the basis for emergency removal. Can you explain how you knew that specific detail before discovery was produced?" Claire looked at him, not me. "I was told the basics by officers at the scene." "Which officer?" Daniel asked. "I do not remember." My mother shifted in her seat. Claire kept going. "That detail does not change the danger to Lily." Daniel nodded once. "Then you should have no problem reading line 14 aloud for the record." She did not. That told me enough. She adjusted the papers, smoothed the edge, reached for her water. Anything but the sentence. That was when I understood something. Claire was not afraid of me. She was afraid of what was written down. I did not raise my voice. I did not defend myself. I just looked at the folder and said the only thing that mattered. You do not get to summarize a lie and call it safety. After that meeting, Claire stopped arguing with me directly. She did not need to. She already had a cleaner weapon. Other people. Within 3 days, I was no longer just a mother fighting a charge. I was a story moving through other mouths. Parents at Lily's preschool stopped making small talk. One teacher who used to ask Lily about her drawings now kept her voice careful around me. A woman from our church sent a text saying she was praying for healing in our family. No question. No context. Claire never posted my name online. That would have looked cruel. Instead, she posted things that floated just above the truth. A photo of soup on her stove. A folded pair of child pajamas on her guest bed. A caption about stepping up when children need consistency. Another about how love means making hard choices. She was building public innocence while I was stuck defending myself in private. That was layer 1. Social control. My parents leaned all the way in. My mother began forwarding me parenting articles about stability and routine as if I were a teenager, not the woman who had raised Lily alone for 4 years. My father called once to tell me I should be grateful Claire was giving Lily a better environment while things got resolved. Better environment. He said it like he was discussing real estate. I hung up before I said something I could not take back. The supervised visits started the following week. Because the room was designed to make love look suspicious. A county-approved monitor sat in the corner with a yellow legal pad. Lily ran to me the first time and wrapped both arms around my waist so hard I had to bite the inside of my cheek to stay steady. She asked why she could not come home. I told her mommy was fixing something grown-ups got wrong. She nodded and went quiet. Claire waited outside every visit. Always on time. Always calm. Always holding the pink booster seat she had brought to the arrest. By the second week, I realized the seat was not just preparation. It was theater. She wanted the same object visible every time. The same visual message. safe driver, safe caretaker, safe replacement. After one visit, Daniel leaned toward me in the parking lot and said, "She is curating evidence for people, not judges." Claire understood that most people do not remember filings. They remember images. A strapped-in child. A neat house. A quiet woman with measured words. She was not only trying to win custody. She was trying to make losing impossible by making her version familiar. Then Layer 2 arrived. Procedural control. It started with forms. School release authorizations. Temporary medical consent. Notes from a child therapist Claire had contacted after 2 supervised visits. Recommendations that Lily remain in a calm environment while the matter proceeded. Language about transition stress. Language about protective placement. Every page moved the same direction. Away from me. Daniel answered each filing, objected where he could, slowed what needed slowing, and kept telling me the same thing. Do not perform innocence. Document reality. So I did. I gathered attendance records from Lily's preschool showing she had been on time nearly every day in my care. Pay stubs. Lease records. Pediatric visit summaries. A calendar of every pickup, every dentist appointment, every school event Claire had never once attended until the week I got arrested. It felt humiliating. Like I had to prove I had loved my own child correctly. But Daniel said courts are made of records, not heartbreak. So we built records. Meanwhile, the dashcam technician worked on the interrupted upload. The shop owner sent me to a digital forensics specialist in Greenwood Village who handled camera recovery and evidence preservation. His office sat in a bland business park. No dramatic lab. Just a careful man named Eric with wire-rimmed glasses. He asked for my account access, the camera model, the install invoice, and the exact time window. Then he asked one question that made me sit straighter. Has anyone besides you ever had access to a spare key for the vehicle? Yes, I said. My parents used to. Claire may still have an old copy from when Lily was an infant. 2 days later he called. We recovered a mirrored preview sequence from the backup server, he said. Not the full cloud file yet, but enough to establish entry. I drove there with Daniel. Eric turned the monitor toward us and played 6 seconds of low-frame parking footage. The image was grainy. The timestamp was not. 11:47 and 12 seconds. My CRV sat under the apartment lot light. The passenger side door opened. Someone leaned in. The cabin light flashed across a forearm. Then the angle shifted and the upload clipped out again. No face. No full body. But there was one detail so specific it felt like a lock clicking open. A silver bracelet with oval chain links and a small round charm. Claire wore that bracelet almost every day. I had seen it at Easter dinner. At Lily's birthday lunch. Our grandmother had given it to her. Daniel just asked Eric, "Can you authenticate the timestamp and chain of custody on this recovery?" "Yes," Eric said. "And there is more." He enlarged another still. Near the open door, just inside the edge of the frame, was a key tag shaped like a small white rectangle. The old kind the dealership had used years earlier. Faded. Scratched. Familiar. My stomach dropped. I knew that tag. It had hung for years on the spare house and car keys my mother kept in her kitchen drawer for emergencies. Claire had not just set me up. She had used family access. The system was bigger than one person. That was the second payoff. But enough to expose structure. Enough to prove this was not a random stop. It was a coordinated path. Access. Placement. Narrative. Filing. Everything fed the next step. Daniel moved fast after that. Not publicly. Never emotionally. Structurally. He filed a motion to preserve all digital evidence related to the stop. He sent notice to the district attorney's office that exculpatory material had been identified and was being authenticated. He requested the emergency custody hearing be converted into a full evidentiary hearing because the safety claims appeared tied to fabricated facts. He also told me to say nothing to Claire. No confrontation. No warning. No righteous speech. Let her keep talking, he said. People who build a false story always think control lives in the version. They forget control shifts the moment the record survives them. That week Claire acted even more generous. She offered to bring Lily to my supervised visit early so the child would not feel rushed. She emailed Daniel through her lawyer to suggest a cooperative family plan. But by then Daniel had begun building a room where both audiences would have to sit under the same facts. He subpoenaed daycare check-in logs, parking lot surveillance from my apartment complex entrance, phone records tied to the anonymous driving complaint if the state chose to defend the stop timeline. He prepared an exhibit list that treated Claire not as a caring relative, but as a fact witness who had inserted herself into the sequence too early and too specifically. Then he turned back to me. When she gets on the stand, he said, do not watch her face first. Watch what she does when a written line corners her. 3 nights before the hearing, Eric called one more time. We found the missing sink fragment, he said. It is enough to show what her hand was doing under the seat. For the first time since the arrest, I did not feel fear. I felt shape. And for the first time, Claire was going to have to walk into it. In open court soon. The evidentiary hearing was held on a Thursday morning in Arapahoe County. The courtroom was smaller than people imagine. Pale walls, dark wood, a flag in the corner, a box of tissues on the clerk's desk. Claire wore navy that day. Serious enough to look responsible. Soft enough to look human. She sat beside her attorney. My mother sat in the second row with the tissue opened. My father kept his face blank. Daniel told me not to react until the record turned. So I sat still. Claire was called first because her emergency filing had built the structure we were there to examine. Her attorney walked her through the story she had been feeding everyone for weeks. Concern. Stability. Immediate risk. Love for Lily. She said she stepped in because no one else was willing to make a hard choice. Then she used the sentence again. I was protecting Lily. Daniel did not interrupt. He let the phrase settle. Then he stood. His first questions were almost boring. Dates. Times. How long Claire had been involved in Lily's weekly routine. Whether she had ever before requested school records, medical access, or pickup authority. The answer to most of those questions was no. Then Daniel moved closer to the lectern. Ms. Delgado, did you touch Nora's vehicle at any point on the night before the traffic stop? Claire did not look at me. No, she said. Did you enter it? No. Did you place any item inside it? No. Her attorney stood. Objection. Asked and answered. The judge overruled him. Daniel lifted a page from the witness binder. In your emergency affidavit, you described a broken right tail light before full discovery had been produced. You also arrived at the daycare with a child booster seat adjusted to Lily's size within minutes of the stop. Are you telling this court both of those things were coincidence? Claire finally looked up. I am telling the court I responded to danger. Daniel paused. Then I would like to publish Respondent's Exhibit 12. Her attorney rose immediately. If counsel is going to imply something from a partial parking clip, we ask that the full sequence be shown for context. That was the mistake. Daniel turned to the judge. We agree. The full recovered sequence should be played. The screen was wheeled forward. Then the timestamp appeared. 11:47 p.m. My apartment lot. My CRV, passenger side view. The door opened. A woman stepped into frame from the blind angle, but the cabin light caught enough. The bracelet. The old dealership key tag. The sleeve from a fitted coat. Her hand reached under the passenger seat and stayed there too long. Then she shut the door. The next clip began seconds later. Same lot. Same angle. She moved behind the car. Her arm lifted. The right tail light broke. The third clip was audio from the buffered channel. Wind. Footsteps. Then a call connecting. Yes, the car is leaving in the morning with a child inside, Claire said. The driver may be impaired. You should send someone near the daycare route. My mother made a sound. Behind me, someone whispered. Claire went white, but she tried to hold the line. This is not what it looks like, she said. Daniel did not raise his voice. That is not your version anymore. That is what you just heard and watched. Her attorney asked for a recess. The judge refused. Instead, she asked Claire one direct question. Did you submit this custody request while hiding your own role in the events that created it? Claire said nothing. Daniel stood. Your Honor, the emergency narrative before this court was manufactured. The safety concern was staged. The child transfer was pre-positioned. We ask that temporary restrictions on my client be lifted immediately and that this matter be referred through the proper channels for any criminal review the state deems appropriate. The judge reviewed her notes, looked at the screen, looked at Claire. Ms. Delgado, she said to Claire, you do not get to create the danger, hide your role, and then present yourself as the solution. That was the moment the room changed. Not when the video played. When the structure stopped carrying her. My mother would not look at me. My father did, and for once there was no defense in his face. Claire turned halfway toward me like there was still something left to negotiate. There was not. You do not get to decide what kind of mother I am after you built the lie yourself, I said. I did not say it loudly. I did not need to. The truth had already said enough. The judge did not give a speech. She gave orders. First, she dissolved the emergency custody arrangement that had kept Lily away from me. Then she struck the temporary findings that had labeled me a danger before the record was tested. She ordered reunification that afternoon through court services so nobody could turn one more hallway into a performance. Claire did not cry. She just sat there with both hands flat on the table, staring at the timestamp on the screen. My mother pressed a tissue to her mouth. My father looked down like the floor had given way under a story he had chosen to believe. The judge was careful. She said family court was not there to decide criminal guilt. That belonged elsewhere. But she also said the record showed a deliberate fabrication of risk, a material omission in sworn filings, and conduct that directly affected a child. She ordered the transcript, exhibits, and authenticated recovery sent to investigators. That was enough. By 3 that afternoon, Lily was back in my arms in a transition room downstairs. She ran at me before the caseworker finished speaking. Then she wrapped herself around my legs so hard I had to kneel. I held her. Not like a movie. Just tight enough to feel she was real. She asked if we were going home now. Yes, baby, I said. She asked if Claire was coming. No, just us. She nodded like she had been waiting weeks. Daniel met me in the garage with a copy of the order and a list of next steps. New pickup restrictions. Updated school records. Notice to the pediatric office. Communication through counsel only. He said one thing before he left. Winning the hearing was not the finish. It was the point where their version first stopped controlling the paperwork. The criminal case against me started collapsing within days. Once the recovered footage and metadata were reviewed, the prosecutor moved to dismiss the possession charge. The stop still existed. The anonymous call still existed. But the chain underneath it had changed. What had looked like danger now looked like staging. Claire hired lawyers. It did not help. Investigators pulled dispatch records, affidavit timelines, and statements tied to the stop. The questions were no longer about my fitness as a mother. They were about false reporting, evidence placement, and sworn filings built on concealed conduct. Claire had spent weeks trying to make me answer for the script she wrote. Now she had to answer for writing it. My parents called that weekend. I did not answer. Then my mother texted that the family had been under stress and mistakes had been made on every side. Every side. That was the end for me. Some people will watch the truth come out in open court and still reach for language that blurs it. Not because they are confused. Because clarity would force them to admit what they funded with silence. I changed Lily's pickup password. I removed my parents from every emergency form. I changed the locks on my apartment. Daniel helped me file notice that all future contact had to go through attorneys. 3 weeks later, Lily and I moved to a place in Littleton. Different route. Different parking lot. Different keys. I kept the blue cup, the sticker books, and the moon-shaped bedtime lamp. After something breaks, children do not need perfect. They need familiar. Lily started sleeping through the night again after 2 weeks. She woke up smiling and asked if the bad mix-up was over. Yes, I said. It is over. That was not fully true. The legal aftermath kept moving. Claire lost more than the hearing. Her adoption file was suspended. Her marriage split before summer. Her name kept traveling through rooms she could not style her way out of. But none of that mattered to me as much as one thing. She no longer had access. That was the real ending. Not revenge. Not humiliation. Access. People like Claire do not always want love. They want position. They want authority over the story of your life. The moment they lose access, the performance starts starving. So here is what I learned. Do not waste your breath fighting the version they rehearsed for strangers. Build the record. Protect the child. Let the truth stand long enough to speak for itself. Some relatives do not betray you with anger. They betray you with paperwork and calm voices. When someone keeps asking you to trust their version, stop listening. Read what they filed. Have you ever had someone try to rewrite your life while calling it help? Tell me in the comments.